views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Wow. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It is so great to be connecting with all of you. Absolutely connecting with all of you. Life is good. We've got a great lineup for you guys today. Really, really exciting. You know, you're going to get to meet some folks that have said yes to taking their message out into the world in a very, very big way. And we're starting to see more and more people emerge that are all about consciousness, that are all about spreading the word of hope, of experience, of abundance, and of living life completely full out, as we like to say. You know, the Dr. Pat Show has been talk radio to thrive by now for about 10 years, renamed from Crust Busting Your Way to an Awesome Life. And, you know, Benny and I have kind of been through that and have seen sort of what it's like to continue to take a message out into the world, regardless of what might be going on in the economy, what might be going on in our individual lives. And that's what's kind of cool about this. You know, being able to have conversations and meet people like my two co-hosts here today, Tim Darter and Steve Kramer of Spirit Fire Radio. I love that Spirit Fire Radio. Just to say that is so very cool. But beyond Spirit Fire Radio, you know, what have each of these individuals done and have said to in their lives? You know, what is their big yes? You know, how did they, you know, go from wherever they were to where they are today? And we were just chit-chatting here about the weekend and some of the food, the delicious food that we, you know, we experienced. And why is that so important? Because, you know, both of them, each in their own right, both of them are practicing living awareness. Both of them are individuals. You know, they've both said yes to helping the rest of us understand what it's like to be at peace with ourselves, be grounded in the gratitude that is our lives, and take whatever that vision or dream is to an unprecedented level. And that's what I love about them. You know, you're going to get to hear today what Spirit Fire Meditative Retreat Center is all about, and the role that Steve plays in it, the role that Tim plays in it, what their journey has been like to get here as they've both said yes to creating an amazing place that people can go to be, to understand, whether you're an organization, a community, or an individual, but it's a place that absolutely magnetizes this collective consciousness evolution. You know, this place that so many around the world are longing for. So many things that we long for, look for, hunger for, and we look everywhere but within ourselves. And so today, I'm thrilled to be introducing all of you to who each of them is, but more importantly, getting to know these amazing hosts of Spirit Fire Radio and what they are planning, which is incredible. Steve, Tim, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. Pat. This is Steve. It's so great to be here and exciting to be starting this great adventure together.
Yes, and hi, Dr. Pat. Thank you. We look forward to this.
It's amazing. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to ask each of you. The same question and hear from each of you separately. This is a question I've asked people in a 13-year period. I've briefly touched on the surface of who you are. I mean, clearly your radio show is going to introduce you to the world in a completely different way. But I want to ask you, what are some of the challenges? What are some of the obstacles that each of you had to overcome to bring you to this very moment? And Steve, why don't you start?
Sure. Well, you mentioned it earlier. Of course, the biggest challenge is just saying yes to every moment, just feeling into yourself, and an opportunity presents itself. And do we say, well, I could, but, and maybe, and if only, but it's just saying, yes, this is exactly what I want to do. This is exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go for it full on. For me, it was saying enough of New York City. I lived there for 20 plus amazing years, loved every single minute of it until I didn't. And it's really listening to that voice that says, wow, okay, it's time for something more. And saying yes to an opportunity that was to move to the antithesis from 8 million people in a city to 800 people in a little tiny farm town with nothing but crickets at night, no more, sirens and taxis, just crickets and crickets. So it was saying yes to that and just not looking back and just experiencing that momentum and that joy and excitement of always building something new, every day being new and every day being creative.
Wow. And part of this is, I mean, I'm thinking about this now because, okay, wait a minute. Growing up in New York, now I'm out with the crickets, and boy, what an adjustment. And you really brought me back to a time in my life when I did my first camping trip. And the first time I ever got out in nature, and I was horrified. I mean, think about it. Doesn't this sound like the strangest thing? I grew up in New York. I lived on the fire escape for most of my young adult life, and to get away from the roaches, and sirens everywhere. Never fazed me. But one night in a tent in the country, I was petrified. Isn't that a fascinating thing to think about? What is it about our lives that could be so beautiful to so many and yet so frightening to each of us, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Tim, how about you?
Well, what's funny is you'll find between our answers between Steve and I how much alike we are in that regard. And I would have to say that it's very much, all of the decisions I've made is just trusting my gut and moving forward and saying, yes, this is where I want to go, and believing in myself. And so when it was about a little over a year ago now, and I was like, you know what, I'm tired of this corporate life, and I want to move to a place where I can really make a difference and see the effect I have on everyone, and not have to have such great ideas and move with such great people I work with, only to have it, kind of limited in some way. And moving, I've always loved the outdoors, so that's always been a part of everything that I've done. So moving to Spirit Fire and sort of living that life and really working in the nonprofit world has just been wonderful. It's been really, really wonderful.
Well, part of this, too, is looking at what you actually have created. I mean, when we're talking about, Spirit Fire Radio, and we're talking about Spirit Fire, the retreat center, and what the journey was that led you there, we're talking about something that is absolutely incredible experience for people that have gone there. I mean, I got to ask you a question. How did you guys get the idea to create Spirit Fire, the retreat center? I mean, did you wake up one day and it was like, boom, there it is? Or were you like me? Did you dial the wrong phone number?
It was a bit of the law of attraction, I think.
Yeah.
It's sort of look around you and what you need is right in front of you. It's a bit of that. Spirit Fire was around before Tim and I. Tim and I took it over last year as the president and executive director. And So Spirit Fire was already an organization that just needed a little bit of guidance. It needed a little bit of fluff, and we were in the right place at the right time. I was in New York City, as you say. At some point, the fear factor of leaving sort of sort of diminishes a bit, and there was something in me that was stirring spiritually, and I was drawn to meditation and just trying to find the right meditation practice, and nothing was working. I think you just your nervous system gets so wound up, and actually loving that wound upness of New York, that trying to put that in reverse is a bit of a challenge. And tried so many different meditation practices, and I happened upon this one meditation practice called the Practice of Living Awareness, and boy, it just fit like a glove. And so I started doing these weekend excursions from New York City up to Leiden, Massachusetts, to the center, and learning everything I could about the practice. And we were just a perfect fit. So for me, it was a bit of an integration, and then saying at a point when Spirit Fire really needed someone to take the lead, of me just saying, that person is me. So it was a bit of what is it that I need, what is it that they need, and realizing we were actually the exact perfect fit.
Yeah, and for me, it was just really, I was introduced to Spirit Fire through Steve, and we started about 1.5 years ago. I was helping in the kitchen with the cooking, and just seeing the impact that makes, and sort of stepping back and saying, wow, we could really take this somewhere. We could really take the message that Spirit Fire is, which is, to me, the beautiful thing of Spirit Fire is, no matter what your belief system is when you walk in there, it is an open door to discovering it. It doesn't matter what your predication is on any particular flavor. It really allows you to look inside yourself, and through teachings of others, through just talking through either Steve or myself, really learning more about yourself and learning what it is to be spiritual. So just having that really intoxication and being in that environment for myself, it was just like, all right, let's step into this and really take it to the next level and spread that message out more, and give Spirit Fire what it needs from a foundational perspective to do that.
Wow, this is really kind of cool. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to do something very, very fun. When Spirit Fire Radio actually launches, there are going to be 3 questions that Steve and Tim are going to ask people. And you know what we're going to do today? We're going to turn the tables. We're going to turn the tables right on them. And we're going to ask them those 3 questions. And, I love that, because I had somebody do that to me in an interview about a month ago and asked me that obstacle question. And boy, you could hear me like, Let's take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back with the show.
Holistic Medical Center is where you find it all. A healthy space with doctors who care, see, and listen to the whole you. Hi, this is Dr. Darvish. If you have not found an answer to your chronic symptoms, you will find answers here at Holistic Medical Center. Our doctors find the root cause of your symptoms and guide your body towards healing naturally. We transform lives from within. Visit drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404.
My dream is to end homelessness.
My passion is living a green life.
My dream is to end poverty.
My passion is volunteering.
My passion is making a difference.
My dream is to cure Lyme disease.
My passion is rebuilding communities.
My passion is helping those in need.
My passion is caring for the elderly.
My dream is to find a cure for cancer.
My dream is to leave a better world for my children.
We all have that special passion, that lifelong dream that drives us to live our lives with meaning and to create a better world. No matter what drives you, we can all make an impact. Dr. Pat Basili is helping others make their dreams come true, so we can all help make our world a better world.
To learn more about how Dr. Pat is building a community of sharing hope, strength, funds, knowledge, and information, visit abetterworldcrowdfunding.com today. That's abetterworldcrowdfunding.com.
Tune in to Sheer Alchemy with Leslie Fontaine on TransformationTalkRadio.com and get ready to stir up your passions, remove your blocks, and shift into an entirely new existence. Speaker, teacher, channel, clairvoyant, Leslie Fontaine is a transformation catalyst who channels a powerful energy from source to catapult listeners into living the life they were born to live. Whether it's shifting from scarcity to abundance, from emotional pain into joy, or from illness into health, Leslie will help you step into the true essence and power of all that you are with the help of the Ascended Masters and Archangels. You will not be the same. Visit TransformationTalkRadio.com for show dates and times and LeslieFontaine.com to say yes to explosive abundance.
How would you like increased health and vitality? How would you like to avoid the onset of disease as well as slow the aging process? This is all possible through a simple, safe, and natural process. Every day we are either moving toward wellness or away from wellness.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. I'd like to be your partner in achieving optimal health. Contact me now at maryjanemack.com or call 425-392-0659. Visit maryjanemack.com.
Hey, everyone. Welcome. It's so great to have you tuning us in, turning us on. Thank you for joining us here today. I'm Dr. Pat, and I have some very special folks joining me here today, Tim Darter and Steve Kramer of Spirit Fire Radio. You're getting to meet the host up close and personal. You're going to hear a lot about Spirit Fire Radio and what they're planning, but they do have something unique, and they do have something to share with all of you out there. But I want to make sure that you all have website. Go to spiritfire.com. You can go ahead and do that and take a look. But during their show, they decided, well, you know what? We're going to be asking people some questions. And we're going to kind of ask these three questions. So I want to turn the tables right here. Benny knows what we do here. Turn the table and start by asking each of you to answer these three questions. Are you guys ready?
Yep. Yeah, we're ready.
So here's the first question, and you can decide who's going to take this one first. What is a spiritually significant event or moment in your life? What is a spiritually significant event or moment in your life?
Well, I'm going to go first on that one. This is Tim. So mine would be, and what's funny is when you start asking these questions to everyone, they always preface it, well, it was so insignificant, but it led to such huge changes. And I would have to say that applies to myself as well. It was probably about 15 years ago. I was living in Denver at the time, and I was feeling really stuck with where I was. I was feeling very separated and detached from my own spirituality. I felt like I had gone out and kind of was following the road that everyone wanted me to follow as opposed to the one I wanted to follow. And I was traveling back and forth to the East Coast, to Boston, and I was one of these business trips, and I was flying in. And I happened to end up, after a full day of meetings, in a bar, and I was talking to the bartender, and he was just sort of, feeling me out, getting my story. And with that, it started to downpour, just drench rain. And he handed me, look, you're going to need this. And he handed me an umbrella. And I walked out of the bar. And just that connection with him, just someone giving me that little piece of kindness that I needed to keep myself, what I thought above at the time, above water. I'm walking down the street, and I had the umbrella open, and I just closed it. And I stood there and literally let the rain just pour over me. And inside of myself, it was all these light bulbs went off and said, just do what you want to do. Follow your own path, and don't let anyone stop you from doing that. And it literally was from that point forward that I made all the decisions I've made since that to really follow a more spiritual and aligned, whether it was in work, whether it was personal, whether it was spiritual, and make sure that my choices lined up to that. Wow. And it's been wonderful. It has been incredible, and here I am today with, what I can say is an awesome experience. So it's been one of those great things.
Wow, isn't that incredible, though? I mean, I can hear this. I can hear it in your voice. I mean, I can hear how very special And at some level, maybe alarming, right?
Yeah.
But in a kind of good way. Isn't that like weird for me to like even say alarming in a good way, right?
I totally get it. The decisions I had to make from that point forward were not easy, very hard, but the benefit has always paid off. And, the relationships that have come from it are stronger. I have a better sense of myself. I can look at situations and really feel grounded in my decisions and not feel wavered or, crazy about what's going on.
Yeah. Somebody said to me the other day, and then what, Steve, then you can jump in. Somebody said to me the other day, "Oh, crazy is the new normal," and I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
What?" They said, "Yeah, crazy is the new normal." And I said, I got to think about that. I really got to think about that. And I said, maybe that's true in some respects, but boy, I'll tell you, it's got to be a different kind of crazy than the way I was when I was growing up. It's got to be different.
Craziness. If you're owning your own craziness, all right, I'm all for it.
How about you, Steve?
Well, I'll tell you, it was great just to even hear Tim's answer. How funny is that? We created these questions and we combed over them. We've asked every person we know to sit down in the seat and tell us, but we haven't asked each other. I had no idea what the guy was going to say. Isn't that funny? So good on you for giving us a taste of our own medicine. For me, it was on the corner of 23rd Street and 7th Avenue in New York City. You probably know exactly where that is, Dr. Pat. I realize as time goes on, my mom passed away probably now about going on 10 years. And, the longer I'm away from her passing, the more I realize how amazing this woman was and how much of an influence she had on me. But the time that led to her passing saw our family together quite a bit, and seeing after her was many years in the making. And, I thought I was the dutiful son going home as much as I could from New York. It was a straight shot to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And, really, I thought that I was just really giving her everything she needed. And most of that was by being there. And on the corner of 23rd and 7th, and one afternoon, it was like lightning just struck me. And I realized that all my mom needed was love. And that came to me was, your mom just needs love. And all of a sudden, my heart just exploded. And I realized the difference at that moment between the personality and the soul, quite frankly, was that I had embodied my heart in a way that I hadn't realized. My intentions were always good. In some ways, perhaps they were self-serving. I didn't see it that way. I mean, they were serving everyone, but really the spotlight was always on me. And in this moment, my heart just exploded, and I was able to send my mom the most massive amounts of love right there on the corner of 23rd and 7th, and I was not the same since. Everything from that moment on really came from my heart. I just had a whole new understanding of what it was to be present, what it was to hold someone in the space of the heart, and was able to be there for her, I'd say, every moment of my being from that moment until she passed, whether I was physically present or not physically present. But I just think life gives us these challenges and these experiences. We reach a threshold, which for me was being of service to my family as best as I thought I could, when really I didn't know anything about what I was doing. And shazam, it all opened up, and it was a whole new world and all new lessons to learn, and all new sort of a new vibrational level to exist in. And so for me, that it was really a transforming moment.
Wow. Had you guys not heard each other's answers?
No.
We hadn't.
Oh, this is good. This is so fun.
We have sort of reveled in each other's in one of the questions you're going to ask.
Yes,
in our little teams we put together, we have sort of like coveted each other's. So there is one question we've actually discussed because it's a fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I love about this is, every time I ask the question that I ask, and it's been the same question for a long time, 13 years pretty much. The signature question for the show is, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And about 2 months ago, I got an email from someone and say, hey, these two women put up a whole platform and website with that question. And I said, wow, that's great. And they asked me, why didn't you ever do anything like that? I said, you got to be kidding. 13,000 interviews. I mean, that's what we've done with that question. It's been an entire show. And what I've discovered is that, all of us get to show up in service of other people. That's really what this is about. Indeed. We get to show up in service of other people. Mm-hmm. And I wake up in the morning, and you guys are going to talk about this a little bit more when we come back from break. But I wake up, and my meditation is really short and sweet most days. And I ask, what is mine to do today? And some days it's, Pat, if you don't water the geraniums, they're going to die. Yeah. They're just going to die. They need some water. Put the water on the geraniums. We're going to take a short break, you guys. When we come back, wait till you hear what the other two questions are. It's really good. And if you all have any questions you want to ask Tim or you want to ask Steve, go ahead and go to the drpatshow.com website, or you can go to transformationtalkradio.com. And on the right-hand side, you're going to see a little box up there, and you can go ahead and type your question in. Or many of you do like to call in 1-800-930-2819. When we come back, get ready for question number 2. What's behind that door? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Oh, don't you dare look back. Just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said, shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said, ooh, shut up and dance with me.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Ronnie DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Ronnie DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Ronnie DeLuce at info@ronniedeluceonradio.com and visit mvholisticretreat.com. Dr. Ronnie DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
Are you feeling stressed, in pain, disconnected, worried about aging? Corrective alignment and integration therapy restores health. Move your body, which frees your mind and elevates your spirit. Bodywise Bodywork LLC provides the tools you need to create the change you've been waiting for. Start living a fully present and integrated life. Book your 15-minute consultation online at www.bodywisebodywork.com. Bodywise Bodywork LLC, because it's the only body you've got.
If you're one of the millions of Americans suffering from anxiety, you probably know how powerless and out of control this emotion can make you feel. This is why it is so important to remember that anxiety is created by your mind, which means that you can learn to use your mind to uncreate it. Hello, my name is Dr. Friedman Schaub. My award-winning book, The Fear and Anxiety Solution, provides you with a step-by-step breakthrough process to understand and resolve the root causes of your anxiety and build a solid foundation of confidence and inner peace. If you're ready to take your power back, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com. That's thefearandanxietysolution.com, or call 866-903-6463. That's 866-903-MIND.
Called the Oprah of Radio by her listeners, award-winning host Dr. Pat Baccili is blowing the doors off of traditional talk radio. Get ready for an energizing delivery and powerful interviews with leaders in the field of human potential. Dr. Pat's fresh, new perspective on living life full out has catapulted her show to the top of talk radio. Tune in and Dr. Pat will help you thrive instead of merely survive. Visit thedrpatshow.com. That's THEDRPatshow.com for listening times in your area.
Wow. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so thrilled, to be introducing all of you to both, but here's what I love. We're getting ready to launch Spirit Fire Radio, and that is a show hosted by both Tim and Steve, and we're going to let you know a lot about that, about the show and what they're going to do. And as a matter of fact, we're going to talk about it here in a little bit. If you want to find out more about Spirit Fire Radio, it's very easy to do, spiritfireradio.com. If you want to find out more about Facebook, where they are, you can go to Get Spirit Fire. Go ahead and do that on Facebook. And there are many other places. What other places do we want to send people?
Spiritfire.com, just our website.
Yeah.
From there, you get to everything regarding our meditation practice, regarding the retreat center, and our education classes.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of great. A lot of pictures. It's just beautiful. Check it out. So let's go. Are you ready for question number 2?
We're ready.
Okay. All right, here we go. You get to create your very own spiritual council made up of persons living or passed on. Who are they? And you got to give names. You got to come up with more than one name.
Well, I suppose I'll go first. Tim went first last time, and his counsel was so awesome that he better be after me. So we just think that's just such a great idea. We often go into contemplation. What if these were real figures that we could go into spiritual contemplation, ask a question, and there they are as our counsel. They just get to answer whatever question we want to pose to them. And who would we turn to as guidance? As we asked all of our friends, well, of course, everyone wanted Christ and they all wanted Buddha. So we kind of had to say, well, I believe they're on everybody's spiritual council. I mean, it's the highest eye of the mind and the largest of the largesse of the heart. So, I'd say that's a given. But on mine, I'm going to go for Patanjali and the Yoga Sutras. He took mind to a whole new level and considered the vibration behind language and behind words. And really started to uncover the force behind the higher mind and its connection to the soul. And from there, I think that Pythagoras is a good way to go. He took that step even further in connections of the mind and the soul. And I'd love to ask Pythagoras just about anything. He traveled at the time, traveled to Greece and India, Egypt, and took the best of the best and brought it back and put it into the melting pot and tried to sort of figure out how are we going to, again, relate the idea of mind and soul and what do those two mean and how can we use them in what at that time in sort of modern contemplative thinking. So for me, that's always been the bridge between mind and soul. But the third, I'm going to go quick over those because the third is somebody who's always been an inspiration to me, and that would be Harriet Tubman. Not so related to Patanjali and Pythagoras, but when I was a kid, every book report I ever did was on Harriet Tubman. She led the slaves. She was born into slavery and freed herself into Philadelphia and Pennsylvania and right away turned back, went back into the South and brought her family back and then started doing this on a regular basis, moving forward, realizing what freedom is, and then turning back to grab others and bring them along the way. I think you also have to look in yourself and say, well, what's my default? For me, sometimes it's all right, I'm throwing in the towel. Enough is enough. I just want the easy way. And I sort of turn to her as this idea that, there is no easy way. There's only fulfillment. There's only going for your goal. There's only living life and sharing that, doing it for others, as we've said, and just that perseverance and that spirit of always moving forward. And sometimes moving forward means turning back and going to where you were from to bring others forward. So for me, I'd love to have her on my spiritual council. I'd probably turn all the time. And then, she just went on to do amazing things with women's suffrage and just an incredible human being, an amazing American, amazing woman, and just someone that I'd turn to any time of day.
Wow. Yeah. How fun is this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Are we ready?
We're
Are we ready for Tim?
I might have to interject. I get too excited by this. Or if I jump in and go, yeah, that's who I want to.
They're all available. Anyone can have them.
All right.
Well, I would start with Da Vinci. I think, talking about someone who's on the cutting edge of art and science in a time where you really had to keep those two things going in spite of all of the, whether it was religious persecution and all of those things going on, but someone who is just on the forefront of those two areas. And they're two areas that I just really relish in for myself. So having anyone who could lend themselves to help me in those areas would be awesome. The next person would then be Esther Hicks and Abraham. Law of attraction is just something that is just innately I've believed in and followed for as long as I can remember. And her practical wisdom is incredible and supports me I don't know how many times a day. Yeah. It's just phenomenal. So to have that deep reservoir of knowledge would be very helpful.
Well, and he's got all of infinite intelligence on his
exactly.
side. So you basically got everyone.
Right. Many for one, right?
This guy's smart. That's why he's on my team.
And then the last one would be Dolly Parton, because I think she is one of the most incredible businesswomen who's grounded, and most of all, she handles every situation with humor, which I think is just one of the best gifts anyone could give to any situation. So those would be them.
Wow. I love these. I picked 3 to answer this question. And I thought to myself, oh, my God, after I picked my 3, oh, how shallow. And but it was a fun exercise, and I'm so glad I heard you guys. I heard what you shared. I know that you said something, Steve, early on. What did you say? Jesus is on everybody's list, and I thought about that, and I thought, you know what? I want to hear from Mary Magdalene. That's what I was like. Well, wait a minute. Now we're starting to get some information about Mary. Right. In fact, maybe she was the financier to all the traveling that went on. So she was like right on my list. It was like, okay, tell me the real deal. Okay. So she popped up. And then I thought I got my second one that popped up when I got the question. And then I tried to change it. And I said, okay, Pat, don't change it. So Jor-El popped up, the father of Superman.
Oh.
Jor-El popped up, and I thought, oh, really? Are you really going to share this? Jor-El. And I thought, why did Jor-El show up? And so here's what I remember from those early on. I used to read comic books as a kid. I grew up with, in the DC comics and the Marvel comics, and I grew up with these characters because, where I lived, I really needed to escape in another world, just to get out of, living where I lived in the Bronx and how I lived. And so I picked these characters, and I remember this Jor-El. And, if you've watched any of the movies, right?
Yeah.
Jor-El is got the wisdom of all of the ages, right. Whether it's Marlon Brando or Russell Crowe, right?
Right.
Nice.
And
glitter.
Yeah. And they've got it in this little teeny device that you stick into an ice cube.
Nice.
In the movie, right? It's all like in the ice cube. And I thought, that's me. I want to have that. And so these questions are so very fun. Did you guys have to think hard about answering this question, or is this something that you've always known?
I've always known those. It was fun when we first sat down and kind of asked each other them, because we were like, no, I want that person. And you were like, no, I want that person.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a common, handful who were always sort of guided me along type thing.
Wow. Well, let's do the third question, because this is like, this is kind of fun. Do you find that you change the people? Do the people change from time to time?
Oh, that's a good, yeah. Well, I think their priority changes.
And I think we sort of find we resonate with qualities in individuals, right. and we sort of perhaps move on to a different representation of that same quality. But there's something in us that it responds to that and sort of looks to that or wants to draw from it. And I think even though the people may change, if you look deeper, you'll find that there's something within you that's resonating.
Right.
Yeah. I just absolutely love these questions. As a matter of fact, Benny, I think we're just going to skip the last break. Let's take a look at this third question. honestly, I can't wait to hear what folks are going to say when they answer these questions. When you all are you going to actually give them these questions in advance?
Yeah.
Oh, you are. Oh, shucks. All right.
Well,
Yeah.
especially number two.
Yeah.
You got
Well,
to build.
this is the third one. This is actually this was tricky for me. So here's the question for each of you to answer. What does the word soul mean to you? What does the word soul mean to you?
Okay, this is Tim. I'm going to go first this time.
All right.
Mine's short and simple. So personal accountability and really responsibility for yourself is sort of a theme that I really, really hold dear. And so soul to me really means alignment, integrity, and knowing yourself. Because if you follow those three things, then you will implicitly align with your soul and follow its purpose.
Steve, how about you?
Yeah, the word integrity is pretty awesome when it comes to soul. To me, the soul it's that highest version of ourselves. It's what we always work to and being in service of. I think the personality, that which we come into in this earth form is a vehicle for that lighted energy of the soul, and it's up to us to constantly refine that vehicle so that we can be more aligned with it. And integrity definitely is a great word. When we live our lives with integrity and accountability, we are aligned with that highest guidance. So to me, it's that place we look to and ask, as you said earlier in the show, what can I do for humanity today? What can I do to be of service today? What can I do? Use me. How would you like to use me? I love that Oprah's always said that she always told God, use me. What do you want to use me for? Well, I believe the soul knows exactly what it wants to use you for, and it's that alignment to being able to hear that, to be able to see that, and to get in touch with that light that says, this is exactly what I'd like to use you for.
Yeah. And, let's talk about this for a minute because, this has been a real conundrum for people. We hear about the soul's path. We hear about the seat of the soul. We hear about, our life's purpose and what the soul is directing us to do. Or our soul's destiny. And, it's used in so many ways. But the one thing that I've noticed even what you both just shared is one of the things I've noticed is, it's referred to as an end, an end to a means and the means itself. I mean, it's one of the weirdest, for me, it's one of the strangest words that we have, which both represents the process and the end game. And I hadn't thought about it till your question, right? Mm-hmm. But, I don't know if that's true. It's like, wait a minute, my soul is wanting me to go here. And then when you get there, it's kind of like, yeah, this is my soul's purpose. Does that make sense? Or am I just kind of, rambling on about it?
I think it makes complete sense, which is for myself, like really getting to know yourself is kind of figuring that out along the way. And the answers you get, you get closer to really what your soul is. And then, as you were saying, the result of that is its purpose. Sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, I see it kind of as the highest oscillator. It's just it's out there and it's calling you, and can you get in rhythm with it? So indeed, we see the end because the end looks like, this is the highest version of myself. As soon as you find that highest version of yourself, there you are, and self just keeps expanding, moving on.
Go to the next.
Well, here's my question now for you guys, because I love that you sent these three in. And I want to know, now we've asked these questions, and we're talking about the soul, and we're talking about the purpose and the soul's purpose in our lives and how we show up. And I wanted to ask you about Spirit Fire, about the retreat center. How does it help people discover their insights to the three questions that you've come up with? How does it do that? And really what my question is about is telling us a little bit about what you've created at the retreat center, because just saying Spirit Fire Retreat Center doesn't really do it.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've come up with these 3 questions really talk to me about who you are and what is being created there. And I would love for you to share that.
Sure. Well, the listeners will realize that the show itself is going to be based on our meditation practice. That is Spirit Fire's own meditation practice. We offer free online meditation basically every day, 365 days a year. So that's a big part of Spirit Fire's mission. We also own a retreat center in Massachusetts. So, I'm sure lots of talk will come up about the center as time goes on and as the show's, because we're going to have guests on the show that we come in to, we meet amazing people on amazing paths with amazing gifts and wonderful experiences to share and wonderful wisdoms to share. So the retreat center is its own entity. How do we do that? We create an amazing space that allows people to simply be. As Tim said earlier, we're not directing anyone on any path that's a spiritual path that's not their own. So it's really creating this sacred space. We've got 95 acres of just amazing land and gardens. We grow a lot of our own food. So it's really creating that sacred space. Meditation goes on in the center constantly. We have a beautiful meditation room. So when a group leaves, my goodness, you can just float around the retreat center. So it's really creating a sacred space that allows someone to really sit with themselves and expand and, really ask themselves, how does that, how has the accumulation of all of my sort of spiritual moments, created the me that I am today, and how can I celebrate that joyously? How can I celebrate that with others? We certainly are there to celebrate that with people. Tim and I, we love people. We love their path. We love their journey. We love sharing. And so for us, it's really about just creating a space that allows someone to be the fullest, most complete version of themselves.
And to support them on all different angles and all different sides for that weekend that they're with us, so that there's nothing that they have to worry about. They literally have the time to treat themselves well and to really open themselves up to discovering more of themselves.
Well, I love this, and I want to just say this to folks. If you go to spiritfire.com, you're gonna get to the website, and here's what you're going to find. You're going to find this, and this is something I want to also ask you both to share about. You say Spirit Fire is an educational nonprofit whose mission is to cultivate spirituality and educate people on the importance of consciousness in their everyday lives. What an incredible vision and mission that is. And I wanted you to touch upon this, because you then go on to say, of course, there is a retreat center, there is meditation, but there's also education. And what you say is stay with us, meditate with us, and grow with us. How important is it in the world that we live in? How important is it for us now to bring our life game up to a new level? And that new level is to not just understand the importance of consciousness, but, as you say so beautifully, incorporate it in our everyday lives.
Yeah,
right.
It's really the most incredible kindness we can extend to ourselves is to just be present and be aware. And, when you come into a space that has been created for so much vitality and so much beauty around you, you can't help but just stop and say, wow, I'm really amazed by what's happening in life. I'm loving my food. I'm loving my experience on every level, having time to sort of sit back, center, get to know yourself a little bit better. And it's really just about appreciation. It's about awareness, contemplation, and all of those things together just create consciousness, kindness to ourselves and kindness to each other.
And it's amazing how quickly you see that happen in the people who come and stay with us. They'll show up on a Friday looking like one version of themselves, and by Sunday they completely look like a different person, just full of life and open and light. It's beautiful.
Wow. Part of this is really not just getting to know, you, the meditation, but it's really getting to know what opportunities we have, each of us have, in changing our lives, in doing something different, and in understanding that if we just, it's kind of like a friend said to me, and I'd love for you to talk about this. It's kind of like my friend said to me, she's a sailor, so she sails. And she says, most of the time, you're never really going in the direction you want to go in. Sailing is always about making adjustments. And it's learning about those adjustments which we need to make that'll ultimately get to our destination. How is meditation like that for us?
Oh, well, it gives you the opportunity to really make those changes as you go. You know, you spend those few minutes, and Steve and I are always saying how, you know, there's the meditation on the cushion, but there's also those times in your day where you're meditating as well, where you can stop and look into yourself and really align. And at that time, you may need to make one of those corrections. So learning how to really tap into that meditative energy that you feel in those moments is really, to your metaphor, how you can really steer your course, those little degrees that are going to get you to where you want to go.
Well, and you know, they call meditation a practice for a reason. People say I have a meditation practice. You know why? Because it takes lots of practicing. You know, it's really just returning to the moment as you are sailing. You know, what is the moment offering me? Is there resistance? How do I move with a flow? How do I keep going in the direction that I'm meant to be taken? So really, it's about practice and staying present.
Wow. You know, I want to ask you each one last question, and thank you. I'm so excited. I mean, I love that we get to share this time together, and we get to share this with so many people all over the globe. I mean, it's really beautiful what technology is enabling us to do in a world that many people didn't even think it would be possible. You know, it wasn't too long ago when an event like we're doing right here on the show was impossible. Impossible. It really wasn't that long ago. And so what I'd like to ask each of you is, given where you are today and where you're going, what would you like to leave us with? What would your personal message be for today? And thank you so much for all that you do.
You're welcome. It's been great to sort of introduce ourselves to Dr. Pat Show and your audience. Tim.
I would have to say that what I'd want to leave everyone with is really just, you know, first thing is don't get down on yourself and really just own whatever it is you're going through, look at it and realize, you know, back to the little statement that you were saying about if nothing was to fail, what would you do? Just realize that nothing does fail. Whatever experience you're going through is just something to teach you to become a better part of you, to become the better self that you are.
Wow, great.
Well, I'm going to have to give it a pitch. Come back next week when we talk about the Spirit Fire radio show. Because, you know, the meditation practice, Spirit Fire's meditation practice is just so awesome. It's 14 steps. Each one of those is just this tool that you can use in any experience you've got in life. It's helped me so much. And, you know, meditation is just something that's available to all of us. And the results you can see in your life right away. And I just look forward to sharing our practice and all of its benefits and the ways that it's influenced a lot of our guests and the way that they influence that particular tool in the meditation tool belt. So I just say come back and join us again, because I'm really excited about the future and the show, what we have to present. It's going to be great fun.
Yeah, and I want to just tell everyone, you know, if you want to find out exactly the time, exactly when, of course, we're going to be telling you throughout the next weeks. But go to transformationtalkradio.com, transformationtalkradio.com, or you could go to the drpatshow.com, and you're going to be able to see the lineup. You're going to be able to see exactly what Tim and Steve have created. Thank you both for all that you do, an extraordinary show, and I look forward to Spirit Fire Radio.
Awesome. Me too. It's going to be a great fun adventure.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Let's rock on, everybody. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with the show.
I try.